T'es sûr? Est-ce qu'il y a des bus du Wellington? Non? C'est dommage.
Mais que Napoléon.
Ah non, c'est bon.
Le perdant de la bataille.
But was not Waterloo a famous victory for Wellington? Was not Napoleon defeated on the battlefield? Are the Allied victories only celebrated with children's toys? The Emperor Napoleon escaped from the Isle of Elba and returned to France in 1815, where he reformed his army with astonishing speed. Determined to rebuild his empire, he decided first to conquer Belgium and Holland. Only two of the European powers then meeting at the Congress of Vienna could mobilize an army to stop him. A Prussian army under Marshal Blucher and a mixed army of British, Belgian, Dutch and German troops under Wellington. Blucher met the Napoleonic army at Ligny on June 15th and was forced to retreat. Wellington had already chosen as the best place to defend Brussels a valley south of Waterloo. Early on the morning of June 18th, he heard from Blucher that he would not be able to join the Allied forces until evening. The mixed force under the Duke, therefore, took the full force of the French attack.
I am greatly privileged to be writing from the Emperor's headquarters between Ligny and Quatre Bras. Our gallant troops have rallied to the cause of our hero Napoleon, who fights for liberty, equality, and fraternity. I can see his pennant flying bravely in the breeze. The Emperor advanced early this morning with Maréchal Ney towards Brussels, while the forces of my Lord Wellington retreat. It is said he is still dancing in Brussels, leaving his troops to be slaughtered in the muddy fields.
Seated on a few small twigs or a little straw, in a newly ploughed field, well soaked with 6 hours' heavy rain, your feet 6 or 8 inches deep in mud, a thin blanket your only shelter, cold, wet, hungry, without a fire, without meat, without drink. Imagine yourself placed in such a situation, and you'll have a faint idea of what we suffered on the night of the 17th and the morning of the memorable 18th of June.
Dear Father, I shall continue my account of the great battle. The morning of the 18th of June broke upon us and found us drenched with rain, benumbed and shaking with cold. We stood to our arms and moved to a fresh spot to get out of the mud. You often blame me for smoking when I was at home, but I must tell you that if I'd not had a good stack of tobacco this night, I must have given up the ghost. About 8 o'clock, our brigade went into position on the right side of the line, on high ground that commanded the farm of Hougoumont.
I see that the fire has communicated from the haystack to the chateau. You must, however, still keep your men in those parts to which the fire does not reach. Take care that no men are lost by the falling in of the roof or the floors. After they have both fallen in, occupy the walls inside the garden, particularly if it should be possible for the enemy to pass through the embers inside the house.
The enemy were pouring a destructive fire of shot, shell and musketry on the farm, which was soon on fire, and the battle increased with double fury. Never was place more fiercely assailed, nor better defended. It will be a lasting honour and glory to the Scots and Coldstream Guards who defended it. A spectator would imagine that a mouse could not live near the spot.
It was in the charge I took the eagle from the enemy.
He and I had a hard contest for it. He made a thrust at my groin. I parried it off and cut him through the head. After that, a lancer came at me. I threw the lance off by my right side and cut him through the chin and teeth. Then a foot soldier.
After these 2 days of horror, I write again. The battle is over and lost. The English generally occupied well-chosen defensive positions. Without studying the position, we marched straight on. About 1,000 yards from the English lines, our troops became excited, hurried, and became confused. But the English line, which looked like a long red wall, remained silent. Our column began to double, shouting, "Vive l'Empereur! En avant! À la baïonnette!" But the English remained silent. The contrast between us was striking and had a profound effect on the young soldiers. And then the English shouldered arms, and steady concentrated volleys swept our ranks. Decimated, we turned and fled. Only then, 3 deafening cheers broke the silence of our opponents.
Towards evening, Napoleon abandoned the battlefield. The roads were entirely blocked by abandoned French equipment. In the fields on either side, 40,000 men and 10,000 horses lay dead or dying. Wellington was silent as he rode back to his headquarters in the village of Waterloo. Those with him saw tears running down his face.
Nothing can be half so melancholy as a battle won, except a battle lost. I hope to God I have fought my last battle.
Bonaparte, back in Paris, dictated the following letter to the Prince Regent.
In view of the factions which divide my country, and the enmity of the greatest powers in Europe, I have ended my political career and come like Themistocles to appeal to the hospitality of the British people. I put myself under the protection of her laws and address this entreaty to your Royal Highness as the most powerful, the most steadfast, and the most generous of my enemies.
The following day, he went aboard the British ship Bellerophon and set sail for Plymouth. At the battlefield today, the defeat of the most powerful man in Europe is celebrated by a 20th century razzmatazz of cheap souvenirs, blaring loudspeakers, and exhibitions acclaiming the name of Napoleon Bonaparte.
Cette grande réalisation cinématographique d'une durée de 25 minutes relatera pour vous ce que fut cette sanglante journée de 18 juin 1815. C'est sonore et parlant français, avec sous-titres flamands et anglais. Si vous prenez vos places maintenant, pendant l'entracte actuel, cela vous permettra de voir le film depuis le début. La séance va recommencer dans quelques instants. Nous accordons des réductions aux groupes de 20 personnes et plus, ainsi qu'aux enfants. Ces séances sont permanentes.
The noise could hardly be worse than that on the battlefield. but is a poor memorial to an emperor who gave the world so much, and a great British general honored by his troops, supreme in battle, or to the 40,000 men who died under their command.